So you've just bought your first house and used all your KiwiSaver money. Do you need to continue with your KiwiSaver? This is a question that I get asked all the time. And the reality is, yes, you do. Because, of course, it's fantastic to own a house, and being mortgage free when you're in retirement age is certainly a fantastic thing. But there's an old saying, you can't eat your living room. You do need to have some cash. And the reality is, building up those investments over your lifetime, that working stage of your life, can really make a big impact. What I'm going to do today is run you through some software which I created for my clients. It's very thorough software, and I sit down with everybody who I meet and do a projection on this software for them. We can put in a lot of different variables. It's very advanced. Now, I've got to point out right away that this is not personalized financial advice. If you do want personalized financial advice, book in a meeting with me. We can go through the software and other things. I can make a really good plan for you. But today's just illustrative of how it can work. So let's take a look at our example over here. So we've got somebody who's just bought their first house. Their age is 30 right now. They're intending to stop work when they're 65 and start taking withdrawals from their KiwiSaver at the same age. And they're going to make it through to the age of 90, which is just industry standard for these projections. Only $1,000 left in the KiwiSaver. Everything else went towards the house. Got a salary of $60,000, which works out at about $1,154 per week gross income. Doing a contribution rate of 3.5%, which is going to be mandatory as of April 2026. And of course, that works out at about $40.38 per week. Type of fund that we're putting this person into after they have bought their first house is an aggressive fund. Without going into too much detail, that would most likely be the best fund for them, given their long time frame until they're going to retire. So what does it all mean? Let's take a look. Well, there's quite a bit of stuff going on in this graph here, I understand. So I'll quickly run you through it. Over on the left-hand side, we've got the age in each row. And of course, we've got our employee contributions. They are going up a bit, of course. We're taking into account pay rises. We're looking at your employer contribution, the government contribution. Type of fund, like I mentioned, is an aggressive fund. The figures that I'm using are the market average returns after fees over the last 10 years in all of the KiwiSaver providers. That is not the returns that the better providers who I work with have been getting. This is just very middle of a road. Then, of course, we also take away tax because those returns are taxed. That gives us our final balance for each year. And then, of course, I also inflation adjust it because 2% inflation per year does make quite a big impact, as you're going to see in just a moment. So let's scroll down then and see what happens to this person when they turn 65. Okay, so just turned 65, and with those assumptions, their KiwiSaver balance could be somewhere in the vicinity of $992,000. So quite a large jump. We're looking at almost $1 million in nominal figures. Now, I did mention inflation just a minute ago. That figure on the right-hand side, $496,000. That is the equivalent of $992,000 in today's money. So that's the impact that 35 years of inflation can have, or does have. So we've always got to take that into account. And that, of course, is why you need to get your investments well ahead of inflation and working over a long space of time. So I would say that it is worth getting your KiwiSaver going if you want to have that sort of money to actually have some cash in your retirement. But of course, there are other tweaks we can do as well. So let's just assume that instead of just doing the 3.5%, soon to be 4% in a couple of years, this person said, you know what, I'm going to go straight up to 6%. That's going to save them from about $40 per week up to $69 per week, so about another $29 per week coming out of their pay. Go to our accumulation. We've got 6% running right through now. What impact does that make? Well, quite a bit, as it turns out. That person is now going to come out with about $1,280,000. We inflation adjust it. It's about $640,000 in today's money. So what we're basically looking at is that extra $29 per week. You're going to have $144,000 more in today's money when you turn 65. Now, 144 grand sounds pretty good to me for the sake of $29 a week. That's one tweak we might consider if I was going to sit down and talk to this person. So if we just undo those and take a look at a different scenario again. Now, let's say this person comes out when they're 30, but bought their house, and they say, you know what, I'm not going to do anything with my KiwiSaver. I'm just going to wait for another 5 years. What's the big hurry anyway? I've still got ages to go. So we're going to start them at 35 now, but have a little bit more than $1,000 because, of course, that would have earned a bit of investment return over the next 5 years. So, say for argument's sake, we say they're up to $1,500 by doing absolutely nothing. And maybe their pay rate might have gone up a little bit in 5 years as well. Let's be generous and say they're up to about 65 grand. We go to our accumulation. We're still sitting at the 3.5%. No, it actually will be at 4% by that stage. And what is our figure? So let's take a look. Age of 65 now, and we are coming out with about $712,000 and only $393,000. So you can see the impact that 5 years will make on your balance. It's really important to be getting your income going into your KiwiSaver, into your long-term investments as early as possible, getting great returns and biding your time. And the fact that KiwiSaver locks you in actually makes that work really well. So there you go, guys. That was a pretty short, sharp nutshell of what I do and some of the software that I use. If you want to book in a meeting to have a chat with me and look at this in a much more personalised way, I can ask you some questions, I can look at your circumstances, and we can make a bit of a plan using this software and some other software as well. I do not charge anything for these meetings. My services are complimentary because my fees are paid by KiwiSaver providers rather than by you. It's very similar to how a mortgage broker operates. So you've got nothing to lose by getting some advice, but a lot to gain, as you can see. I'm Cameron Steele from Solid Steel KiwiSaver Advice. I hope you enjoyed that. I look forward to meeting you soon.